As Republicans salivate over the discovery of a small number of classified documents in Joe Biden's home and private office, Donald Trump's many criminal probes are intensifying, and Trump is freaking out in response. He called into a right-wing radio show and called the special counsel investigating him a terrorist. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Going into last year's midterms, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and his fellow Republicans were expecting a landslide victory that would give them a large majority in the House and a mandate to go on offense against Joe Biden and the Democrats. In fact, for at least a year leading up to the midterms, McCarthy was incredibly cocky about it, even giving out specific numbers for how many seats Republicans could win.
It could be one of the biggest election losses for Democrats.
I think anywhere over 20 is a red wave.
We want to earn enough that we have a governing majority. That means getting in the realm of 20 and higher. If we are fortunate enough to win 35 Republican seats, that would be the largest Republican majority in more than 100 years. There's about 55 to 70 seats that we can play in and make them competitive.
Is there any chance Republicans are a little overconfident this year?
No, we're not overconfident.
There's going to be a historic red wave, or my name's not Clevin McCarthy. Hold on. It's never a good sign when someone says they're not being overconfident. If a character says that in a movie, he's about 10 minutes away from getting eaten by a T-Rex. I'm not overconfident. I'm your only way out of this park. Woo! McCarthy was so overconfident, he was even predicting the safe blue seats where Biden beat Trump by double digits would be vulnerable to Republicans, and he warned the members of Congress in those seats that they could soon be out of jobs.
If you're a Democrat and President Biden won your seat by 16 points, you're in a competitive race next year. You are no longer safe.
You are no longer safe. Are you a member of Congress or a stalker ex-husband from a Lifetime movie called Taking Back the House? Kevin, what are you doing here? You don't live here anymore. I helped pay for this house, Carol, and if you think I'm going to stand by while you turn into the town harlot, you are sadly mistaken. You are no longer safe. Anyway, the point is McCarthy was confidently predicting enough seats for what he called a governing majority, meaning a majority big enough that he could get stuff done without having to beg and plead with every individual member of his caucus. As we all know now, that did not happen, and McCarthy had to concede to virtually anything anyone wanted from him to get their vote. For example, allowing just one Republican to call for a vote to remove him as Speaker at any time. One member. That means anytime Lauren Boebert has a bad day, she can take it out on Kevin McCarthy, which is a problem because she only has bad days. Don't get me wrong, she loves bad days. She's built for bad days. She's the only person who wears a T-shirt that says, "Thank God it's Monday." Anyway, the point is McCarthy had to beg and plead to get his job, and for help with that, he turned to Donald Trump. Now, as we've explained before, Trump is actually a big reason McCarthy has such a small majority in the first place. Instead of staying out of the primary process and letting more conventional GOP candidates win their races, Trump kept endorsing his collection of MAGA goons. McCarthy would say, "Here's a good choice. He's pro-military and anti-taxes." And then Trump would say, "I also have a guy, he's for sure a pyromaniac. And he once punched a horse at a county fair, but he also has my name tattooed on his forehead, so he's a sharp guy." If it wasn't for Trump-endorsed candidates failing in the general election, Republicans probably would have won a lot more seats, and McCarthy would have breezed through the Speaker vote. Instead, Trump tanked the party, and McCarthy's razor-thin margin relies on Trump fanatics. So to get them on board, McCarthy had to rely on Trump's help, which he openly admitted.
I do want to especially thank President Trump. I don't think anybody should doubt his influence. He was with me from the beginning. Somebody wrote the doubt of whether he was there, and he was all in. And he was a great influence to make that all happen. So thank you, President Trump.
As a general rule, it's weird to publicly thank someone who is under multiple criminal investigations. During her Golden Globe speech, Jennifer Coolidge didn't thank the actual Italian mafia, although in her case, I don't think she should thank anyone. She's Jennifer Coolidge. She should give a "you're welcome" speech. Yeah. She should just get up there, take her award, say, "Wow," and then just walk off. But the last person you should be thanking is Trump. That's the point at which McCarthy should have been played off.
I do want to especially thank President Trump. I don't think you should doubt.
Of course, this year's Golden Globe had that haunting piano, the same haunting piano that plays in Taking Back the House when Kevin emerges from behind the curtain. The point is the Speaker of the House is now publicly indebted to a guy who openly plotted a coup against the United States government. In fact, the multiple criminal investigations into Trump are now intensifying. On Friday, for example, Trump's family company was hit with the maximum fine allowed under New York state law for running a years-long tax fraud scheme.
Tonight, the Trump Organization has been hit with the maximum penalty, $1.6 million, after being found guilty of a years-long scheme to pay top executives with cars, apartments, and school tuition, all to avoid paying tax.
Okay, I think it's great that Trump's company was held criminally accountable, but only $1.6 million? Trump probably keeps that much change in his big-ass coat. I mean, look, he looks like he should be standing in line at a Coinstar machine. So Trump's company got the maximum fine from a criminal tax fraud conviction. Then we found out last week that the Justice Department has issued yet another flurry of subpoenas to Trump officials as part of their investigation into the coup attempt on January 6th.
We are keeping a new eye on some new moves in that DOJ criminal investigation into January 6th, with the Washington Post now reporting on this new and wide-ranging subpoena that the Justice Department sent to Trump campaign officials. It asks some new questions related to the 6th, according to the Post, for information about stuff like what these people said about voting machines after 2020, for documents about the fundraising and planning that went into then President Trump's rally on the 6th.
Now, this is big, because you know what the punishment is for instigating a coup?
$1 million.
Big-time stuff. But more subpoenas are going out. For example, prosecutors have subpoenaed Mike Pence to find out what the is going on with this run. The Justice Department needs to get to the bottom of that. The only time it makes sense to run and clap at the same time is if your dog is humping a stranger's leg in the park. Atlas, no! No! Atlas, no humping! We discussed this! And we played this clip last week, and somehow it was the first time I and a lot of our viewers had seen it, and it only raised more questions. I mean, look at the rhythm of his clapping. He's like the weirdest metronome I've ever seen. He's like a T-1000 that got reprogrammed. And there may be new areas of investigative interest, but it's a lot of the old names. For example, prosecutors are focused yet again on a close Trump ally who has been in and out of legal trouble basically nonstop for several years now.
Former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani has been subpoenaed for documents related to payments he received around the 2020 election. A source tells CNN the subpoena is part of special counsel Jack Smith's sweeping criminal probe into Trump's fundraising and spending as he tried to overturn the 2020 election.
That's right, Rudy was subpoenaed. I bet I know what face he made when he found out. Ooh, I tricked you. You guys thought I was going to show the one where his eyes are bugging out of his head. No, that's not how Rudy would react to a subpoena. That's how he'd react to seeing Mike Pence run. Mike Pence runs like one of those ball thingies bosses have on movies on their desks. No, it won't surprise you to learn that all this has made Trump very unhappy. Last week, he called into a right-wing radio show and threw a hissy fit about the special counsel who's investigating him, a guy named Jack Smith.
This prosecutor should resign. He's got a conflict. He is a terrorist. He is a Trump hater. This is a disgraceful situation. He should resign. His wife hates Trump, probably even beyond him. And his wife has a sister who openly hates it like a level that you can't even believe.
Hey, first of all, no one should be held responsible for what their wife's sister does, my man. That's not cool. Bad enough you got to spend all day worrying what your wife's doing behind your back, but her sister? You, dude. Also, how does Trump even have all of this information about a guy's extended family? Is he just sitting down with Ancestry.com every night, looking for new enemies? I just got a hint leaf, and it says that his wife has a sister who does not like Trump or cilantro. But this is yet again one of the many differences between the situations Trump and Biden find themselves in. Trump is under multiple separate criminal investigations. He's lied about them at every turn, refused to cooperate, obstructed the investigations, and is now calling the prosecutor investigating him a terrorist. Biden is at least cooperating. The worst thing you could say about Biden is there was no reason for him to keep classified documents in the garage where he also parks his Corvette.
According to President Joe Biden, these classified documents were found in his personal library and in the garage of his home in Wilmington, Delaware. Just moments ago, Biden addressed the matter very briefly, saying it was a locked garage where he also keeps his Corvette.
I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review.
But why were the documents specifically next to the Corvette? Does he think reading documents make you look like a nerd, so he wanted something kick-ass next to him? Mr. President, we have intelligence from North Korea. You need to read ASAP. My Corvette's too far away. Give me my Ray-Bans and my Harley jacket. House Republicans are trying to go after Biden and protect Trump, but the two situations are in no way comparable. Trump is under multiple criminal investigations for many things, from his family business to his coup attempt to his refusal to hand over classified documents. Biden is at least cooperating. When the feds showed up in Mar-a-Lago, Trump didn't exactly run to the door like this. This has been A Closer Look.